The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar with me, a good friend of the show. She's been on a few times. Kelly Duffy, your village clerk. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great. It's a beautiful day out there. It's feeling good.
This is the time of year where I regret that I have a basement studio. Honest to goodness. Like this, every year I sit here and I think to myself, it's time to change out these windows so I can let fresh air in when we get these warmer days. And when I say warmer days, when it's 40 in Evergreen Park, I want to run around in my shorts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No coat. You know, the only downside is if you have any dogs, the mud that comes in right now. But, you know, it's worth it.
Yeah, it's still worth it. I just keep a towel by the door and I just wipe the dog's feet off.
Absolutely. He gets a treat if he wipes his feet, so he's good.
As we kick off this episode of the EP Podcast, remember the First National Bank of Evergreen Park invest in the Evergreen Park community because they love this area as much as you do, and they have that total access checking account. You've heard me talk about it before. Free ATMs nationwide. Doesn't matter what the fee is. They put the money back in. I just had to use that the other day. Couldn't find an ATM that had their name on it, so I just used any old ATM, and I just was like, yeah, sure, I'll accept the $3.50 fee or the $4 fee. Because the First National Bank of Evergreen Park just put the money back in there for me, making the ATM free. Sign up, you get a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. They got great mobile banking tools and award-winning customer service. The First National Bank of Evergreen Park is a true community bank located on the corner of 95th and Pulaski, member FDIC. So you have a lot of things going on, but I want to tell you a story to kick this thing off. Because I want to give you an opportunity to kind of speak on the difference between dealing with the clerk's office here in Evergreen Park and let's say everybody has to deal with Cook County, because we all at times have to deal with Cook County. And I learned something this week that really took me aback. I finalized my divorce and I ended up with the kids basically living here. I mean, full time. Two of them are here all the time. One of them is here the majority of the time. I ended up with the house. Look, there had to be some mistakes made for the guy to end up with all that, but we won't get into that. But I ended up with that. So there's a point at the end of the divorce where you have to buy the other person out of the house. And the crazy thing was the amount of money that got deducted first. I bought this house for about $5,000, which is also an amazing thing. So I had this house for a $5,000 check. I got the deed all to myself. So now $5,000, I got the deed to myself, and I have to get a quick claim, which takes her off of the deed. I didn't even know about this. Luckily, I had a friend of mine who's an attorney, and he's like, no, you got to do this. And I go, okay. So I look up where to file this. And Cook County during COVID decided they were going to stop letting you go to the courthouses for most things. So everybody's got to go downtown now, and where they have no parking and where they actually have county officers driving around ticketing you for parking illegally, even though they don't offer any parking, to go down and stand in line forever because there's only one place where you can hand this stuff in. Now, the amazing thing is, in contrast, I go up to your office at Village Hall and I have to get a stamp. And it took me 30 seconds, I think.
Yep, the exemption stamp.
I walked in. I was able to get the form online. They tried to give me a form like I already got it online. I filled the thing out. I walk in. I hand the paperwork in. The stamp book comes out. The person stamps it. They hand it back. Have a nice day. Such a difference. And the person in front of me was getting birth certificates, which are almost impossible to get as well. But you guys offer them, I think, if the birth was at Little Company?
Yes. Anywhere in Evergreen Park. We do have a few home births, believe it or not. But so we have the records for births and deaths as long as they happened in Evergreen Park, so you can just walk in and get those.
Yeah, I unfortunately was born at Christ.
Me too.
Yeah, so I can't get them.
Kids.
Yeah, that's the problem. Should have gone to Little Company the whole time.
That I know.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's the thing though. Your office has a bunch of things that it does for people that they might not even understand that they can do. It's not always a trip where they have to go downtown. And in reality, you're just going into Village Hall.
Absolutely.
And there's a couple of windows that are open, and everybody thinks like, oh, I got to get this permit. Oh, I got to get this. Oh, I got to get that. I think every time I walk in there, you're almost helping me get it done.
Right.
Which is a direct contrast, again, to dealing when I lived in the city. They didn't help you. They hated you. When I deal with the county, they don't really care. Like they're just angry that they have to be at work that day. Everybody in your office is always smiling, telling me, just fill this out here, sign this here, we'll get this done for you.
Right. We're here for the residents. So whatever we could do. And like you said, there's a lot of things that we do that people don't even realize. So it's always a joy. Not everyone who comes through is excited to see us. But it's always a joy when we can help someone and save them some steps and just make it an easy, breezy experience.
Yeah, even the Plata survey. I had to get that for the appraisal on the house to figure out the value so I could go through that process.
Sure.
And that was about a month ago. And I couldn't find one anywhere. And I called down there and they're like, oh, have you ever done anything in your house? And I'm like, yeah, I built a fence. We would have a copy.
Yeah.
And somebody went and looked for it for me.
Yes, we have a very fast basement.
And I got a call back. I was amazed by that,
We
Kelly.
try because we'd rather you call and ask. And if we don't have the answer, if we can't do it there, we'll try to, lead you to the quickest, most efficient thing. So a lot of times, our building department is extraordinary because a lot of times you don't know what you need a permit for, what you don't. And they're always willing to answer those questions. And again, make it easy on the resident, give them some tips. We have a lot of people who call and say, I'm doing work on the house. Who's good? We're going to recommend some of the most popular contractors that are licensed in Evergreen.
Really?
Absolutely.
See, I have some stuff I want to do now to the house.
Yeah, I was redoing my kitchen.
Now that I own it 100%, we'll start fixing it. I wasn't fixing it before we valued the house. I'm fixing it now.
I mean, because you think about it, our building department's going to hear the good and bad.
Right.
And they generally will have a list or they'll have a go-to, and it's based on, what the residents are telling us. And the ease of the use. You want someone who's licensed in Evergreen. You don't want to be stuck if someone tells you, oh, no, you don't need a permit, and then you get fined or something like that. Same thing with the clerk's office. If there's something that you need. I was going to touch on animal
tags, right?
Tags,
yeah.
rather, because that is something that is a necessary thing. It is part of the deal. You have to register your pets in Evergreen Park, and there's people who don't know about that or think that if they never leave the house, they don't need those.
There are people who think they could just walk along with the dog 20 houses in front of them without a leash on, too.
Right.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So we do have a lot of those type of calls and a lot of clarification on that as well, because, we do have a limit of how many animals you can have and things like that. But sometimes we have residents that come in and they're like, I received a notice, and we always try to give a notice first. And I didn't realize I had to register my pet. Maybe they just moved here. I mean, the thing is, with the pet registration and things like that, because even if you come and you're like, I need to register my pet, we'll ask you for the rabies tag. If they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't bring that with, if it's something easy, like one of the local vets, let us call and we'll get the number for you.
Yeah.
If our clerks have the time to do that, they're willing to do that.
That's such the difference.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
send them back and forth.
I know people that have lived in Evergreen their whole life, and they don't understand how lucky they are that they have this type of government that wants to help them.
Right.
Because trust me, if you don't, and I've said this before, 19 years here in Evergreen Park, but before that, all over the country doing radio, I've dealt with a lot of people in a lot of different places, and I lived in the city as well when I was younger, and they don't help like that. Nobody would sit there and say, I'm going to call the vet and get the rabies number for you. They would yell at you until you go take care of your stuff and come back and get in line 3 days from now. Yeah. It would be totally different.
If we can help you save a step or something, and we have the time, we're more than willing to help out. Because something is some people are like, oh, that's so dumb. No, the whole purpose of registering your pet is, of course, like you said, some people aren't using leashes as they should. But if your dog got out, I know my dog has an extra tag that says, if you found me, my mom is doing the ugly cry, call me.
Right.
So if perchance my dog happened to get out and it ends up anywhere in the village where the police come in and tag it, then we have a list of all the registered pets, and the police will say, okay, this tag number belongs to this family, and then you can possibly get your dog back. So it's also, we're not doing things to make it harder on you. It's a good thing. I want my dog registered. If he got out, I would be doing the ugly cry. So
right. Well, you see, my dog's the opposite. Like, he drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. I would have given him away in the divorce, but the kids wanted to keep him. And when he gets out of the house, he doesn't leave.
Right.
He ran out the door. He ran out the door a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't even know he was out the door. And all of a sudden, I look outside, and he's sitting under a tree right here in front of the house. And my neighbor, when I come out to get him, goes, "He's been laying there for 3 hours. That dog will never leave you. He won't leave me. I can't get rid of him."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You have some things that you've got coming up, some new things that you're developing, which I was surprised to hear about as we were sitting down here. Tell me about the Prom.
Okay.
The Prom is coming to Evergreen Park. This is amazing.
Yeah, so I had, I go to different conferences. I meet other clerks in different municipalities, and we're always sharing ideas, what works, what we could do better. And someone had recommended a prom for grownups. And I don't know about you, my prom was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So kind of comboing with our Office of Citizen Services, they just celebrated 50 years last year. So we're going to do, we've named it, I brought my notes so I don't misquote
It's
it,
okay.
The Golden Age of Hollywood Prom, a prom for 55 and older.
Okay.
So
we're 55 and older prom. I don't get to go to this
I'm
prom.
not going to
I don't get to go to this prom.
I'm not going to encourage you, but you can help be a dancer because we're going to need some people to help with dancing.
Oh, hold on a second. You need me to go out there for those that need a dance partner?
Yeah. So yes. I got a job for everyone. But no, so we're going to be looking for volunteers as well. But it's going to be open to, like we said, if you're 15, you want to come, great. We're not going to card you, but we just want to. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have dancing. We're going to have a red carpet.
Oh, wow.
You can break out an old prom dress. Wear whatever you like.
First of all, ladies.
We're so excited.
Ladies, if you can fit in your old prom dress at 55 plus, I will be your dance partner.
Yes, and we are planning a whole prom court. So we will be looking for nominates. If you want to do a prom proposal,
right.
we're
that
gonna.
generation is not doing prom
No,
proposals.
I know. I had to cheer someone what it was, and no, I think we could really have fun with it. I've partnered with Beth at OCS. We're gonna have it over there. We got a lot of ideas. We're really excited about it. Of course, Stacy's helping with it too. But yeah, we're talking champagne toast with when we announce
what
the prom
day is this
court.
again?
It is going to be May 8th. So we got some time.
8th, this is going to be,
gonna
which
be
I believe is a Thursday night.
It is a Thursday evening.
Because my birthday's the next day, and I know it falls on a
there
Friday.
you go.
this
Great
year.
way
Yeah.
to kick it off. So you could always, like true proms, you could always go somewhere after, but...
I think we went to Connie's Pizza after mine. I'm not exactly
there you
sure.
go.
I don't know where we went, but I know.
So, yeah, but we're really excited. I mean, it's going to be a lot cheaper than our high school's prom tickets, but we're really looking forward to it.
Oh, no, we were on a boat. That's where you were.
Oh, okay.
It was cold. It's a cold boat.
So we're really excited about that. We're hoping it's a first annual. I mean, seriously, we're going to do the DJ. We're going to do dancing.
That sounds like
we're
fun.
We're going to do drinks, because
Great
it's
idea.
grown-ups.
Well, of course. I mean, they're 55 or older. I mean, they want to have a drink.
Yeah, we're having a good thing.
Can't give them a Shasta or something like that. You got to give them a beer or a glass of wine or something like that.
My friend really loves a Fresquita.
Yeah?
It's tequila and Fresca. So
that's a new one. I would have to try that.
That's a new one. That's how we made that fancy. But yeah, beer and wine, of course, sodas and water and all that good stuff. But we're gonna do like heavy appetizers, and it's not gonna be like a sit down dinner. It's gonna be a fun,
awesome
event, and we're gonna be looking for a prom king and a prom queen.
Right, so next year, let's get it down to the 40 and over for me, okay?
Maybe. Hey, we'll see. Maybe we'll have multiple proms. I'm not sure, but so we're really looking forward to that. There's more information to come. We're gonna be putting out things. We're gonna be looking for sponsors as well. So local businesses, we're going to need, we came up with some Hollywood cocktail drink sponsors, a red carpet sponsor, Walk of Fame. So we're doing the whole Golden Age of Hollywood theme.
I love this.
So we're really
great
excited.
Idea.
So
where's it going to be at again?
It's going to be at the community center.
Okay.
So in the large room. So we could hold up to 100 people in there. So
dress it all up.
Yeah.
Maybe like the spotlights in front.
Oh yeah, we're
like
gonna.
Yeah,
we're gonna go all out.
We'll see searchlights in Evergreen.
I don't know if
maybe?
we'll see searchlights because that's never a good sign. So I might want to stay away from that. But no, so we're really, we're open to suggestions, of course, but we kind of got a game plan down. I think it could be a really good time.
Awesome. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. So, again, there'll be information on our website in the next week or two, and then we will be selling tickets probably in April.
All right, start figuring out who you're going to take to the prom if you are 55 and older here in Evergreen Park.
Yes.
There's also every fall, I know, a big event where some people kind of treat it as a garage sale, right?
Yes.
But it's really, you go out to Yukich Field and you get a table and people do it that way. And you can also go and you can get permits and have garage sales, but you've got an idea for one that's going to be like garage sale day, like something that's like village wide. So
what we're going to do this year is we still, garage sales are, pretty popular. I think
I got a lot of junk to get rid of.
I think we all do.
I mean, I've been walking around this house like we're opening an eBay store here at the Lanuti house. Yeah, I got some things I want to get rid of.
I know. When you think about it, you're like, oh, that's but what we're doing is the senior council does the memories to go big sale that they do in September traditionally, and they have vendors and stuff, and it's usually done like over the ice rink and then outside.
It's almost
on
like
the
a
park.
flea market. It's a garage sale / because you're not going to people's houses. That's more like what that is.
Absolutely. So, and then of course we have garage sale permits that we've done for years. But what we're going to do this year, in addition, you can still do your own garage sale with the permit and all that good stuff. But the weekend of June 7th, so June 7th and 8th, we're going to have Evergreen Park Community Garage Sale Days.
So it's a weekend.
It's a weekend,
June
Saturday and
7th
Sunday.
You don't need a permit. Just set up.
You don't need a permit. You don't have to drag your stuff anywhere, which I love.
Yeah.
But the same time applies, so 9 to 6, no permit needed. We're going to have a spot where you can register on our website, so then you can just look online and see everyone that's having the garage sale.
Well, I can see this being a blast.
They've done it in other communities, so I want to give it a try. And you can still, like, if you're someone who's a regular garage sale person who has one every July, you can still do a permit and do your own garage sale. So if you do the community days, it doesn't mean you can't do your own. But we're just trying to make it easier.
To me, this sounds like something that could be really big. Like, I immediately picture the idea of somebody's driving down the street. There's multiple different sales. You get neighbors that are out.
Right.
You start getting people putting a tent in front of the yard, a little bit of music going on.
Well,
my garage sale, we might be selling things and partying all at the same time. Like, that's immediately what I picture.
Whatever you need to do.
Maybe get a bounce house. You never know. You never know.
No,
it's garage sale weekend.
Yeah, you never know. But we want to, we're hoping this will work out pretty well. We know there's been times where a couple neighbors will go in and do garage sale the same weekend because then they're telling their friends, they get more people. So we're hoping this is a huge successful weekend for anyone who chooses to participate. And sometimes it's just fun to do some thrifting and garage sale and walk down the street and check it out. But again, no permits are needed. We will have, again, this is in June, so we're going to have an opportunity to sign up on our website, so then you can go and look and see all the addresses that are having it.
Do you handle all the block party permits?
Yes, I do.
Is that your thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious. Like, I remember last summer, I thought it was amazing, and this is not a complaint, but I remember there was like a day where I was like here in the Southwest Quadrant, and I was like, I'm pretty sure there are 7 blocks that are all having a block party at the same time, and they all connect in some way. And I was like riding through like a maze just to kind of go where I was going, because block party here, okay, I can only make a left. Block party here, I can only make a right. Like, is that getting complicated? Because it feels like Evergreen has even more block parties than I remember when I was on the south side of the city back in the 80s, and they were opening up the hydrants, and it felt like it was happening. It feels like there's always a block party going on.
Those are such great memories, right? I know where I live a right direct route to the hospital, so we can't close that block of California. Yeah. But block parties are super popular. I think they seem like they're making a little bit more of a comeback. I know this past summer we were really huge. But when you decide you want to do a block party, like 75% of your neighbors have to agree and sign a petition. And then we have to make sure, again, that emergency vehicles can get around.
That it makes sense.
So
if there's block parties on either side of you already, and like you're going to cut off an entire neighborhood because the last street is getting blocked off, that might be an issue.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm like literally just looking at the map and like, and sometimes I'll be running past some public works like, this is what I see. Are we on the same page? And occasionally we do have to turn people away because that weekend just, it won't work.
I can't shut down 99th Street, can I? Can't have one on my block, can I?
No, I don't think you can either.
Stinks. I understand that. I get that.
I get that. Where I was talking about, I was like, if we do it on the offshoot one, maybe. But I mean, block sales
I
are
like that
so
you're
much
trying
fun.
to figure it out, though. Like, I like it. You're like, let's see if we can help these people out.
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't like a party?
Right.
And last year we kind of revamped our block party packets. So we've tweaked them a bit. So we've kind of helped, kind of give some tips on having a successful block party because, last thing we want is anyone, not having a good time or complaining. So that's why we have to have those petitions in place, because if you have half the block did not want this party, then sorry, no party.
One quick question on those, though. It's just a curiosity thing, because it just popped into my head. I hate doing this to you because like I hate just throwing something at you. Okay. So let's say you get the 75% or more on a block, right? But you got a couple of people who are like, I hate block parties. I don't want to do it. If you're having the block party and it's being closed off, what happens to those people? Because I have seen it in neighborhoods where like there's that one guy who didn't move his car and about 2:00 in the afternoon decides he wants to drive around the bounce house because he hates all of his neighbors. Like, are there rules or how does that work?
None of us hate our neighbors here in Evergreen Park. It's a perfect neighborhood. But I mean, when they do have it in our packet, there is some communication that you give to all the neighbors, whether they sign the petition or not. It's been approved.
It's been approved.
We appreciate these things.
Right.
So I think you get a lot further with honey or whatever that saying is going. So, unfortunately, you might have a grump there that car is going to stay there. I mean,
I've seen the grump.
we try to just work around it sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes they just want to be included.
I'm just curious if we could remove the grump. That's all I'm curious about.
I love the stories of where like these three people are like, no. And then come like 4:00, they're tiptoeing out of their house like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Partying,
and now they're converted to
somebody hands them a Bartles and James and they're ready to go. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, I like... Sometimes it's a grump. Sometimes people just don't even know what that means to be block party because there's a lot of communities just don't do it. I mean, I have the memories of the fire hydrant and stuff like that from my grandma's house in Beverly and stuff. So I have great memories of block parties. So if we can make it happen, we're in it.
That's awesome. Kelly Duffy, she's your village clerk. Big date coming up on April the 1st. I think she would like to continue taking care of all of you, and I like her a lot. But good luck to you, and thank you very much for coming in and telling us all about this stuff, and you're welcome back anytime.
Awesome, and I put you down for dancing at the prom. Gotcha. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. It is now time for the EP Podcast Word on the Street, brought to you by Spoken Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. I was just in there this past weekend, picked up some pinzas after having a glass of wine at the bar before I put my order in. Place was hoppin' on a Friday night. They're always hoppin' over there. Bring your friends, bring a date, bring yourself. Spoken Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop. See more at SpokenVineWines.com. Just in time for all the St. Patrick's Day festivities, the Evergreen Park Police Department is announcing they are going to be stepping up enforcement when it comes to careless and risky driving, including impaired driving. Patrols will increase throughout Evergreen Park between March 7th and March 18th. Officers will intensify enforcement of impaired driving and occupant protection laws. You should always be safe on the road. Be even safer from March 7th to March 18th. And remember, the Evergreen Park Public Library is partnering up with the Chamber of Commerce to host their 3rd annual Teen and Adult Job Fair Sunday, March 9th. That's coming up 1 to 3 p.m. at the library. All kinds of local businesses, job and internship opportunities. Get an updated headshot for your LinkedIn profile, have your resume reviewed by professionals, and maybe walk away with some unique and very positive networking connections. Again, see more at evergreenparklibrary.org. And get your friends together to enjoy a wonderful night of creativity, drinks, and light appetizers on March 13th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Community Center, 3450 West 97th Street. A spring paint and sip, 21 and over, $40 gets you all the supplies, the wine, the beer, the appetizers. Paint something new for your home this spring. And just in time for the start of spring, and really March is the beginning of spring, sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, she has stopped in several times over the years. She actually records her own podcast on the Broadcast Basement On Demand radio network called Your Organized Life. She is a professional organizer from Evergreen Park. Colleen Klimczak, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me here. It's always fun to be here.
I brought you in for spring cleaning.
I am ready.
Because you handle clutter. And it's funny because I was on the phone with my mom. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this whole house. I'm just throwing everything in the garbage. And she's like, there are people that do that professionally, Christopher. That's what she told me.
Well, Christopher.
Yeah, that's what I get. I get the full name with Mom.
Okay.
Christopher, there are people that do that. And I'm like, yeah. I know. I have one that does a podcast on the network. Maybe I'll have her on the show and we can chat about spring cleaning. Because I think everybody as it starts to warm up, and it's going to warm up quick. It feels like with El Nino, I think I read something about that. It has not been that bad. It's been sunny earlier here in the winter, which has been a blessing.
It's been a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
We had beautiful days.
We got the high holiday coming up here with St. Patrick's Day. It's the official kickoff of spring. Everything is coming very quickly, which means people want to do home improvements and clean up. And I went out today and bought 6 gallons of paint.
That's a lot of paint.
Yes, because there's several different colors. I'm moving through the whole house from front to back. I'm changing every wall in this house other than the kids' rooms. Okay. And I'm thinking about getting a giant dumpster, putting it in the driveway and throwing out 60 to 70% of everything in this home. And just cleansing myself.
Chucking it.
And moving forward. So I'm doing drastic, extreme. Like if this were the late 90s, it'd be extreme spring cleaning. But like, what advice do you have? If you can catch your breath, what advice do you have for people when it comes to spring cleaning and this urge to just start doing stuff?
Nice. Well, first of all, I love the urge to start doing stuff. And you did catch me off guard with the extreme.
It's extreme spring cleaning here.
I am a product of the, totally get that. Oh my gosh. Thank you for distracting me completely. So I think you are doing great things. You are, I love the idea of like painting every surface. Of course you could get a dumpster. Absolutely.
I did that once before
I
filled it and I can't believe I need to do it again.
And, my house is about the same size as your house. And when we start pulling things out, you're like, where did this stuff come from?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize all that stuff was in the closet or the crawl space or the attic or whatever that looks like. So what I also hear from you, though, is you kind of have a plan. And that's always...
My plan is to paint over all the problems and throw everything else away. I don't know if that's a plan. I don't know if that's a plan or I'm a psycho.
But...
Like I'm opening an eBay store because if something's worth anything here, I'm selling it to.
But again, that's a plan.
Okay.
And so the whole like maybe a psycho, I don't think you're a psycho. I wouldn't keep coming if I thought you were a psycho. But we got to start with a plan because otherwise we just start taking things apart and, you end up with 6 partial cans of paint. No room is done. The dog doesn't even know where to like find their food anymore.
The dog is suddenly in the dumpster.
The kids like, what is going on? Everything's chaotic. So change is great, but we don't necessarily want chaos. Or if we can manage, to limit the chaos, that would be great. So the idea that you've been choosing paint colors because you want to do all the way through, and you and I were discussing beforehand, like actually planning the colors as well. So they kind of all go together.
So first of all, my brother-in-law is in real estate.
Nice.
And he owns a couple of 3 flats and condos. So he knows when he rehabs something.
Yep.
These are the colors people love.
Brilliant.
And they make the place more sellable. I don't know if I'm going to do that in the future or not, but it brightens the room.
It does.
So he gave me 1 or 2 really trendy colors. And I was like, oh, this one's kind of cool. And then I brought in the architect/artist who I got on the phone from college.
You're
experts.
She was
like, Dad, that does not match the other one. Because that one's a yellow-based color, and this is a red-based color. And I'm like, they're both blue. I don't understand what you're talking about.
So
it matters. So then she went through on the palettes online and told me what to get. Then I put them up on the walls. And today I spent $300 buying paint.
Well,
only because it was buy one, get one. It would have been $600 in paid.
But again, hearing all the things, all the steps that went into that to get you to the dropping $300 for a whole lot of paint, you were planning, right? Yeah. So you asked your experts. You thought about how much you need for the space that you want to do. You've got the plan, maybe you've got the opportunity. So those I consider part of that planning process. And so what I always recommend people this time of year is in my presentations, I say, grab a clipboard, but maybe you're not a clipboard person. You always see me with my notebook. You also see me with my iPad and my phone. So a lot of my lists and stuff, they're online or they're digital, but we still think through the process. And that's what I would want people to do as well. Right. So it is a new month. And so Greg and I were saying, we need to have a Nest thermostat installed. Oh, yeah, we probably need to do that.
You're fancy.
Well, I'm not fancy. And I want to have the plumber out because my drain in my tub is really slow, right? So
you're saying things some people aren't going to be as drastic as me, but there's a to-do list in their head, and it's time to start saying, okay, what do I want to get done? Yeah. Let's plan this out and get it done.
Yes. And so like having those 2 services done sometime later in March, that sounds like a one day that I need to actually be home to meet everybody instead of like here and there and everywhere and then waiting for there to be an emergency. Right. So if I can do it on my terms because I kind of planned ahead, picked a day to be home to see everybody who wants to come and service at my house, like that, again, that's what planning can do for us.
I always view spring cleaning as very different in every house.
It is.
But probably similar. Like I would imagine there are other people who grew up in a house with a mad woman like my mother who just woke up one day
nice 2 days
and chose violence and would just walk into your room with a broom and
a garbage bag
and sweep everything in the room into a pile and say, I will be back in 4 hours. Anything left on the floor goes in the garbage.
Your mother met my mother. Maybe that's just a thing.
Everything here is going. She's sweeping things off of the shelves that are messy and putting them on the ground. And she's like, everything on the ground goes in the garbage.
But Mommy, just put everything on the ground.
And I'm like, didn't you just knock that off the counter? She's like, yeah, because it was a mess. Everything on the ground.
And I'm sure you don't. I don't do.
Oh, no, I'm going to do it.
You do? Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't do it all the time.
Again, that's chaotic.
It's coming, but it hasn't happened yet.
I think your mother and my mother must have hung out, which is weird because my mom's in Michigan.
Right, but like that, some people do it that way. Some people do it. I'm talking about the idea of throwing things out.
Yes.
Is there any pitfall to doing that? Because in my mind, if it's been sitting down here on the unfinished side of my basement, behind, if you're watching video of this, it's behind my back, okay? On the other side of the bar, it's just like everybody else's basement.
I've never been over there.
And it's a disaster. It's a laundry room and garbage and junk that's been kept forever. And in my mind, if it's been back there for the last 10 years and I haven't used it, I should throw it away.
Yeah, you haven't missed it.
Like, I mean, you're like, oh, I never wanted to get rid of this. Yeah, get rid of it. Like, it's time to get rid of those things.
Now is the time.
So my only fear is that one day I'll look around and say, man, I used to have one of those. And I threw it away.
Remorse.
Well, I did that once. Yeah. That's how we ended up with the little guy. I got rid of all the baby stuff.
I was like,
and then I went on a 10-year anniversary to Hawaii. And and he was the most expensive souvenir I could think of. And I brought him back, and then I had to go out and get more baby stuff because I just cleaned out everything the last spring cleaning. Oh
my goodness, that's hilarious. I like your little souvenir. He's hilarious. So yes and no.
Okay.
Sometimes we need to do big sweeping, like clear out 60% of your stuff. Absolutely. So a lot of times I want to step back and say what you're doing. You are addressing the areas that you use all the time first, right? We've already talked about how you want to paint, how you want to do that, right? And then you're talking about the stuff that's behind the door or in the attic or in the so like the longer term stuff. If you haven't used it in 10 years, you're not going to miss it.
Right? That's what it feels like.
And if every time you walk by it, you're like, oh, darn, they're still sitting there. Like, and it's got that fine layer of dust on it, or you're not even sure what's in there anymore. Yeah, you won't miss it. You will really like the empty space, though.
Okay.
So if it's been that long, so like I said, the fact that you're starting with the space that you use all the time, that's great. And that you're also thinking of addressing the stuff that you haven't used in 10 years, also great. I like what you said about, too, selling some of it, right? We don't have to just throw stuff away. Maybe we can donate it. Maybe we can sell it. Like you've got a lot of collectibles as I look around your space.
I'm not getting rid of anything here on camera.
I got you.
Like this stuff I'm staying.
Right. Like this, okay? this makes the cut.
But there's
like
more
we
of
love this stuff.
Like this stuff is out for a reason.
Yeah.
There's more of it, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely.
And that needs to go.
It needs to go, but could you sell it? Could you donate it? Could you share it? Could you do something with it?
I have 2 rare Illini beer cans down here. I don't need 2 of them. I can't even open them up.
Did I know?
They're from 1984.
Ew,
they're not even drinkable.
Don't drink
They're
that.
just something that it's really rare.
Ooh, yeah,
and they're like a collector's. Do I need 2? I don't need 2. I don't need 2.
No. Could you sell one?
Yeah,
maybe somebody will love it.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
But again, you like having a plan for that and knowing, okay, I'm going to get a dumpster and 50% is going to go and 10% might go on eBay and we keep 40%.
Right.
Okay. Like that's a plan. I could still consider that a plan. So yeah, it could be big sweeping things. I realized yesterday that it was a day of small projects. And I was really happy about that. It was still cold. That whole spring thing that was here last week, I don't know what happened to it, but it's cold again.
It sounds like the main thing is they have a list. Sounds like sit down.
Even if it's just up here, it could.
There's too much up there, Colleen.
I love a good list.
Colleen,
I do.
You've met me. There's way too much going on up there. The list will get lost.
I love a good list.
The demons are going to eat the list up there. That's what's going to happen.
And what's nice about a list is maybe when you write it all down, you say, oh, that's one trip to Home Depot for the paint and the, whatever. Or, oh, that's one phone call. Or, we kind of can see economies when we do it that way, when we get it all out. Or maybe that's one, oh, I'm going to have so-and-so help me and they can help me with that and that if I call them and set up a day, right? So having a list is really, really helpful. Being able to check things off, I find very gratifying, being able to check those off. And sometimes it's big stuff. Not every spring is big, right? Like you said, you haven't done anything for a couple of years.
I haven't.
Sounds like you've got some catching up to do.
Oh, yeah. Stuff's
right?
getting thrown out.
But that makes sense too, because you haven't done it the last couple. Now it's time.
Right.
So we don't always have to do it big. Like I said, yesterday I tackled a bunch of little 10-minute projects that were bugging me. But I was like, oh, I feel like I'm gaining some momentum. I was really glad to cross those off the list.
You're more organized than me. Colleen Klimczak is more organized than all of us.
I don't know about that.
Check out the Your Organized Life podcast.
Thank you.
You have a website, correct, for your business?
peaceofmindpo.com.
peaceofmindpo.com, and she'll help you with little organizational things, and then she'll also just clean out your whole house for you, right?
I do.
Is there a flat fee where I could just be like, Colleen, get rid of everything?
There is not a flat fee. It's by the hour.
By the hour, okay.
Some of it needs to be your responsibility just because otherwise it adds up.
Then I'm throwing money out too.
Well, yeah, we don't want to do that, right? Anything that we can do on our own defrays the cost of things that we have other people in to do for us.
There we go. She gives good advice. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.